Can I sit
Yeah,
here?
yeah, of
Just
course.
like, cool. Okay, so I'm just curious, what's your name?
My name is Tom.
My name is Jan, so nice to meet you. So I'll ask you a couple of questions. So the first one is, do you agree that everything in this world, like this bench, this tree, or everything like that, has like an explanation, or let's say cause behind it? So we know how this tree got here, or how this happened. So everything that has some like form has like an explanation. Somebody made this, somebody took wood, right? They painted it green, somebody put it together. It didn't just like randomly over billions of years appear this chair just like out of nowhere. Like someone caused it, right? Some person probably, or company.
Yeah.
So the tree the same, like somebody had to plant the seed probably, like it didn't just grow without the seed.
Yeah, sure.
So even this dog or like everything basically
So-
that has like physical properties in this universe, let's say, or this world, has like this causality principle, that something had to cause it to exist. It couldn't just like pop up from nowhere.
Yeah, so the question is, what's made it?
There's a follow-up question, but I'm just asking like if you think this is like correct principle, or this principle of causality, like that everything has a basic explanation.
Of course. It's like, butterfly effect. Yeah, of course. If, for example, somewhere in the previous like century, someone just thought this is a good place to make it, for example, garden.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, now there's a
Someone
garden.
now here is a garden. Yeah, of course, everything has explanation. Everything is causing from anything.
Yeah, so nothing is like this stadium
It's
is not
not-
random.
yeah, it's
somebody
not-
put it there, right?
Yeah, everything has its own purpose.
Yeah, everything that has like a beginning had to be done by someone or something, whatever, nature, whatever, but like something caused it, right? And so
Yeah.
like the next question is like, this is kind of tricky now.
Uh-huh.
So like we assume, we don't know for like, I mean, it's pretty sure we know, but I don't know if you know like how the universe began. Like usually they say with Big Bang.
Yeah.
So we know universe had a beginning. So like, again, similar principle, much bigger scale. So the universe had a beginning. So how did it
How did it start?
How did it start? Because like this principle should apply outside of like, this is not like limited this for this earth. Like it should be everywhere. It's a logical principle. It's not based on science. It's principle of logic. Like similar to like, I know I had a great grandfather, even though I never seen him, but he must have existed because I exist.
Yeah.
So it's logical, but I can't prove it because I never met him, because he died before I was born. But he existed because I'm here, right? So it's similar, like we know like the universe had a beginning, but like what do you think was the cause, or how did it begin, do you think? Because there's like, it could be like from nowhere, it could be that there's more universes, or something caused it, something else, or something uncaused caused it, whatever. So like, what do you think? If we like look at it from this like logical principle, whatever.
I don't see there's some sort of explanation to this question, because with the Big Bang, no one knows what happened at the time when it's exploded. When the universe.
But do you
started.
accept Big Bang, like so?
Yeah, of course. I'm studying like some physics also, and yeah, I'm believing that there's no God actually. But yeah, maybe for some religions people, the beginning of the universe caused by God. Yeah, they think that under the willing of the God, everything like comes to the life. But for me, yeah, I know. For
like,
me, it's like for every scientific man, everything has to be how it's called? Proved. Yeah.
But the thing is, we can never prove it empirically, so you can never test
Yeah.
it. So that's the thing, you can only prove it through logic that I just
With the
said.
logic, yeah.
So if we apply the same principle, so this thing had a beginning, similar as universe had a beginning, and it cannot be like just popped up. So like, if we think it through, we can like, okay, we forget about God, like there's a couple of options, right? So it could either be that it just appeared, right, from nowhere. But the thing is, like, this never happened in this universe, and even in quantum vacuum, and if you have these fluctuations, it's not nowhere, there's still something changing properties like energy. But you can never get something from nothing in this world. Like, so why would it apply outside of the universe? Like, so that option is like very difficult. Then you can have like, because it still requires explanation. Even if you're an atheist, you still have to explain this.
Yeah.
And you can just, I'm not judging you or nothing, but I'm not just saying like, you can just say, like, we don't know. Like, yes, we don't know. Like, okay, what are the options, right? So if it couldn't be just like nothing, and so it was time, space, and everything in 1 second, like that is probably the stupidest option for me, because nothing cannot create it, or it cannot even give a cause to something. It's just nothing. It's not even, you can't even picture it, right? So what is there else? Like, what do you think? Not just not talking about God, but like, what if we like look at multiverse theory or whatever you think? Like, what do you think is possible?
About the multiverse, yes, I think it's true, because I won't think it's truth, because it would make our like life more interesting, because I think if we will manage to find a way,
infinite realities, infinite universe.
Yeah, I think if it's true, I will be glad to it, because I would like to visit some other universe, for example. But from
do you
the
think it's true?
scientific side, it's hard to approve, you know.
So the thing is, like, even if you accept multiverse theory, it still doesn't explain that there had to be the first universe, because the problem you have with this is you have infinity. So, but in mathematics, actual infinity, not potential, but actual infinity doesn't exist.
Yes.
So the universe cannot be forever, even if it's multiverse. It had to, like, even the multiverse theory, or people who accept it, they still limit the number of universes. So it still requires the cause behind it. So we just moved, you know, but it's still not answering the basic question, you know. I'm not sure. Like, it can be multiverse, but it's still like, it's either limited number of multiverses, or if it's unlimited, then that cannot actually be actualized, because then it wouldn't even start, because infinity doesn't produce real things in the world. So what do you think? Like,
I think there's no infinity, of course, because we can't count infinity.
Because you wouldn't have this moment, so it would be like, there wouldn't be past or present. It would just be nothing. It would just be forever. And we know the universe had a beginning, so it's not infinite. This one, actually, right? So we know, okay, it had like 13.45 billion years ago. So there is a beginning. So it still requires, if we apply this logical thing that I just explained, it still should have something that caused this thing, right? So what do you think? if there's, besides the multiverse, you know?
Of course, everything has to be everything have to come from anything. Like with the universe, it's hard to explain, because we don't have that much technology to prove it.
Do you think we can ever prove it? Like,
I don't think it.
Because you cannot go back in time.
Yeah, of course, we can't do it. I think it's we won't ever research about like how the universe started, like what the causes was.
Yeah. But what do you? So now we talked about some options, but you mentioned one option, like God created it. Now, if we replace the name God, like replace this by, let's say, there was a causal thing which is uncaused. So what I mean by this, it stops this infinity chain. So it begins the chain. It doesn't, and this thing, if you ask like who created God, so that's the same infinity. So the thing is, it didn't begin to exist. So this thing couldn't begin to exist, because we would just replace this problem with multiverse with God. So it's the same problem. Okay, there's this thing which didn't begin to exist. It always existed. So it's infinite in past, present, future. And it caused, or it could have decided not to cause, or whatever. Maybe it has a will, maybe it's random. But it caused this thing, right? This chain of events, and everything points to this thing. Now, we don't know nothing about this thing because it's before Big Bang, before even time. So it's not possible to even think what this thing is. But if we look at these options, like, doesn't it make, like, if we look at this, it would explain this more. Like, I'm not forget religion, but it would explain that, okay, this causes came from this cause, which is uncaused, it's eternal, so it's forever. So we screwed at infinity, so we just, now this doesn't apply there, and it explained the causes, and nothing caused it because it was forever, it was there forever. So it's the only kind of like logical explanation for this problem of logic, because you get these contradictions forever, you get these infinity chains in each of these scenarios, and this one is the only one that kind of like stops it. I'm not talking about science or empirical evidence, there's logical, philosophical kind of arguments. You have different like cosmological arguments from different philosophers, like Aristotle came up with this already, and people throughout history like said like, well, there could have been like something which caused everything, which is uncaused, and this is the only like logical explanation, because otherwise we have these contradictions. What do you think? Like,
you know, like I came to this,
besides religion or God,
I have like I came up with one thought. Everything in our world is cyclic, like it has cycle. Yeah, for example, weather.
Yeah.
Water is evaporate. It's create some clouds, and then clouds rains.
Yeah.
Maybe with the universe, it used to be another universe, but
Yeah.
it's maybe because it's expand too much, it start, you know, how come?
Yeah, like crash.
Going back together, and because of this, there's appeared another Big Bang, and we created another, and there was another universe.
Yeah, so like this universe will expand, and then it will shrink back to then destroy, and then again explode.
Yeah,
and this like goes on, right?
Yeah, I think it's good explanation.
It's good, but what still this causality is there, like, okay, even if this is true, like we can't have this forever. So this can repeat, but not forever, because it's not, infinity doesn't exist in actuality. So it had to somewhere start this process of cyclic whatever. So that's the thing, right? Always this problem comes up with this infinity problem.
Yeah, everything comes to infinity.
So if you want to avoid infinity, you have to establish like uncaused infinity. Otherwise, it's always there. And this is the problem that like many people had, like in science or philosophy, like.
It's like with the Schrödinger cat. You can't open the box without killing the cat. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but you know, if you're not, it's like about the belief, like it's alive inside, and the same with how it's called. I don't know how it's in English, but it's about
Heisenberg principle. Yeah.
Principle. You can't find one quantum or one photon. And, you can't find its location, but you know it exists. Or you can find its speed, but you can't find its location. I think it's here is the same thing. We can't find the beginning of the world, but if we manage to find something another that proves that this thing is the first thing that existed.
But then who caused that first thing?
Who caused?
Because even with the physics, if you go deep enough, like this chair has atom, like proton, electron, neutron, there's a quarks, then there's like whatever, some quantum energy, and then science can never get down because there's no, it cannot accept there's just one base, like it always has to go deeper. Like even now we'll probably find out some new way of like going deeper into not atom, just like quarks or whatever is the lowest level of matter. But still, like the same, just talking logic, if we apply the infinity principle, if this goes forever, then this would never exist. So it had to have the first like building block, let's say, first something that built these quarks or something. And it's the same problem with the universe. Like I'm just you can go talk about it from this principle is called Kalam argument. You can talk about it from the perspective of Big Bang or from the perspective of particles. They still come to this contradiction of infinity. So it's just interesting, you know, that it's from my perspective, like logically it would make more sense that even though it implies a lot of things that logically, if we accept it's random, to me it's not from probability it doesn't make sense, because nothing can be random like that. And then if we think something else caused it or something like that, it still further requires explanation. So I just think it would make more sense that something uncaused created or caused these things. I don't know how, whatever. And that's kind of like the base, because then it stops all these problems in logic, and then you have to focus on, okay, now what? what then, right? And you have to kind of focus on, okay, what is this thing? What is this? Does it have a brain? Does it have a mind? Or is it just like nothing? Is it just like some nature? You know? So that's the issue, right? But anyways, thanks for talking. I know it's not like easy discussion.
Yeah,
it's,
actually it's really tough questions you're asking me, but it makes me like think about it. Yeah, you know, this like with the explanation about the infinity, that if we will apply for everything, like we can go deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we won't never find the lowest level of it.
Probably.
Maybe in like 1,000 years. I don't know. But right now, I think it's impossible, and it's impossible.
But still, in like, what would that be made of, right? That has to be made of something as well.
Yeah.
That lowest level. So the thing is, like, it still applies. So it still requires explanation behind it. And the only logical is again this something caused this basic layer.
Maybe
right?
it will.
So that's the thing, right? Like
maybe human will find like this first thing,
yeah.
and then they will ask a question like,
look at
what,
microscope,
yeah,
and what is this?
Yeah, what we can we go deeper or not?
Because you can. How can you not go deeper?
Yeah, you can't. I think
you have to always go deeper. Yeah. So you will never find it, probably, this particle or whatever. But it actually must exist, because otherwise you would have this regress.
It's like
so that's the thing.
It's like question about the God. You never know if there is a God or not. You just have to believe. And
yeah, I mean, so that's a separate kind of issue. But yeah, like this is just. I'm not trying to use like empirical testing or whatever, because even, I mean, science is not 100% true, because every test can be disproven with new science. So like just gravity, like Newton thought something and then Einstein completely turned it against Newton. So why? Like, because it's always progressing, science, right? So I don't think science is like 100% like forever, because that's the point of science, to improve. But the logic, like, that cannot change. That's the thing. Like with logical principles, you have different principles. This was just one, infinity, and there's principles of contingency and things like that. Those things apply outside of the universe, inside, whenever. And it's more like philosophy. It's more different. It's not like science, but this is what people with like forever, from Greeks to now, thought, like from the first atom, like even the Greeks were looking up, what is this made of? And these principles go very deep, you know. So there's many schools of thoughts. But yeah, some philosophers opt in to be like, okay, now I believe in God, and they become Christian or Muslim or whatever. And some say like, okay, no, still this doesn't prove, and some stay atheist. But it's not like in science where everybody's just like mostly atheist, you know. Because it doesn't. There's still many questions there. So yeah, but. Thanks for talking.
Thank you
and,
for asking
yeah.
me this question.